In chapter 8, we will look at several different applications of linear programming modeling. So here is a list of different applications: marketing application, manufacturing, employee scheduling, financial applications, ingredient blending, and few others like nutrition and truck loading. In all of these applications, we have to keep in mind the overall formulation framework, if you will. Okay, from the previous chapter, okay, when we formulate linear programming problems, again, remember this is more of a critical thinking exercise rather than application of some formula or something. So you have to first, these steps are broad guidelines. So the first two steps involve more macro level understanding of the problem, understanding what the problem is about and what is the objective and what are the constraints. So overall critical understanding of the problem. And then steps 3 and 4 are the nuts and bolts of setting up the model, and that will be like defining decision variables and then using those decision variables, setting up the linear programming model itself, which will be like the objective function and the constraints in a model format. So let's start with the first application, which is an application in marketing management. And here is the marketing application, which relates to media selection, and we have an advertising campaign that we need to plan, and we have 4 different mediums to select from. Okay, TV, sports TV, and the spots are 1 minute in length, and we can reach 5,000 audience per ad. And what is the cost per ad? And what is the maximum number of times we can run that 1 minute ad in TV during a sports program? So daily newspaper full page ad. Okay, again, what is the audience reach? What's the cost? And how many times we can run at the maximum? And radio spot, 30-second spot, prime time. Again, the data related to that. Radio spot 1 minute in the afternoon. Okay, what is the reach? What is the cost? And how many times you will run? Maximum number of times you can run in a week. Now, the company also has a limited budget, and there are some budget constraints. So the budget is $8,000 per week, and then there are some more constraints like to reach a broad scope, to ensure a broad scope promotional plan. So management does not want any more than 1,800 spent on radio advertising in a week. So we have a limit on how much money we want to spend in radio ads. Okay. So now the objective is to run this advertising campaign at the lowest possible cost or within the budget. Okay, there is a budget. So we need to stay within the budget. But what we want to do is to reach as many audience as possible, as big an audience as possible. So that is the objective. So the objective is to maximize number of people reached. And the constraints are that we cannot spend more than $8,000 per week. We cannot spend more than 1,800 in radio ads, and here are the maximum limits for each medium. So no more, and then there is also a limit on number of ads. There is a requirement that at least 5 radio spots be placed each week. Okay, and then of course this 1800, and then there is okay. So here are the constraints. So no more than 12 TV ads, no more than 5 newspaper, no more than 25 radio spot, 30-second spot, 21-minute spot. So we cannot. So those are the 4 maximum per week, and then we have the budget constraint of 8,000. Okay, and then the 5, at least 5 radio spots. Okay, and then the total amount on radio ads not to exceed 1800. So it's a good idea to identify what are the constraints that we need to model. So there are 7 constraints that we have to model. Then this is the objective. And the decision that we need to make is how many ads we are going to run per week in each of these 4 mediums. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this up in Excel. Okay, so media selection. So there are 4 different spots. Okay, let's have them as one for each column, one column for each decision variable. Usually that's how we will set it up, but sometimes we may have to change that that format. So let's go ahead and enter the audience reach, the cost, and the maximum, and all the given input data. Okay, so here is the input data, and let's go ahead and format this properly. So that should be currency format. You don't need decimal places. And these two are again currency format. Okay, so now let's color code the input cells.